Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super theory video. Now, I want y'all to go into the comment section below and tell me what you think of this idea that I had while I was making a video with World King Kanji in Dimsy's domain yesterday. And if you haven't seen that video yet, it is on my channel. I will post it, in the description below. I'll annotate it on the video. You should really go check that out because I think we made some really awesome points. Plus, we had a couple laughs and everything like we usually do on this channel. So, I think it's a pretty good video. I hope y'all think it is too. Anyway, basically, I was thinking about how exactly they're going to fight Zamasu and Black going forward in Dragon Ball Super. And I know we don't have an episode, this week or anything, but I just wanted to kind of go off and say that I feel like, at this point, there's something that World King Kanji said at the beginning or somewhere near the end of the video that we did together was, it's just kind of a weird thing if they were to jump into the future, then go back into the past, and then jump into the future, back in the past, and jump into the future, back in the past. It's just kind of too much of a leapfrogging thing. It's too much of the same thing that we're seeing over and over and over again. So I was thinking, like, how can they kind of get rid of that? Even if, like, we're heading towards, like, the final battle or something, and it's not heading towards something that we talked about in that other video where, what if Zamasu and Black actually won this part of the battle and force everyone to kind of, exit and retreat even further than just, time spans, but other universes, and kind of regroup and figure out exactly where they're going after that. So personally, I feel like if they do somehow go into the future again and maybe even go back again, I think that might be enough to actually start, tearing apart the entire space-time continuum to some degree or another. Because we do remember that when Trunks went back into the past this last time, or not this last time, but the first time during this particular arc, it caused like a rift effect that allowed Black Goku to actually go back into the past with him using the time ring. Of course, it eventually closes itself and it throws him back into the to the future Trunks' future. So obviously he couldn't get back using the time rings because the time rings can only go forward. But if there's that rift, there seems to be a possibility that actually he can use it to go backwards. And if we're thinking about what Toriyama was saying at the very beginning of this arc was like, it's going to be the universal space and time. Zeno's going to get involved in everything. I can't imagine a bigger scenario for Zeno to get involved than the entirety of the space-time continuum just kind of ripping apart because Trunks is intermingled with the time so much that he's basically just worn it down. There's already 4 other rings. How many rings are there going to be after the end of this arc? Because if they're working off of Dragon Ball Z's timeline or Dragon Ball Z's kind of idea of how time travel works, then obviously Trunks going back into the future should have created another ring if it hasn't already, and them going back and then back into the future and then back into the past, that kind of should have created some kind of a little bit of a alternate dimension or something. So that's around 6 right now. I mean, if they're working on the same logic that every time someone goes back and forth to at least, some kind of earlier period or something. I'm not sure if it doesn't work because Trunks has already made that connection between his timeline and the timeline previously. So when he goes back, but it's as long as it's not further back than what he did in the past, maybe there isn't a ring. Maybe that's the possibility here and why they're not doing anything. But we have seen visual proof that Trunks going back into time has created a dimensional rift that allowed Black Goku to use his time ring to go back into the past, which he shouldn't have been able to do. So, they've already done this twice or 3 times at least, for what we've seen. They're planning on doing it again. I just wanted to know, maybe we've already seen little bits, hints and everything that, them doing this and them doing this so much, so frequently, is already starting to tear apart the space-time continuum, and perhaps maybe even allowing the time rings to kind of free flow between past and present. So they're not going to be dealing with future Trunks' timeline very much longer. They might just be dealing with Zamasu and Black actually being able to go into the main timeline of Dragon Ball Super and start screwing up the Earth on that side as well. And maybe that is the thing that we talked about in our other video about how they're basically away from, you know, universe 6 or universe they're going to push him into universe 6 because universe 7 becomes too much of a volatile area. I mean, maybe it's just, you know, all the times, like all 4 or 5 timelines just start melding together and people start, the destruction along with whatever we're seeing right now. I mean, that would be super epic. I mean, you think about like all the really epic moments that we've seen in Dragon Ball Super thus far, you know, with Omega Shenron coming out, not Omega Shenron, no, like, you know, with Super Shenlong coming out and Beer slapping Bulma and the Super Saiyan God ritual and all this other stuff that's like been super duper cool at this point, then yeah, that would be really cool to see like all these like different timelines that Trunks created back in the past just start intermingling with each other, and like we see like Trunks' future kind of invade the present timeline. So, you know, death and destruction, people like future Mai coming in and like meeting her young self and everything, just because, not because they're using a timeline, just because it's just unraveling so much that it forces Zeno to actually come down and like, you know, he has to fix things because this is just not going to do. You know, the Universe 7 is basically being destroyed by its own crazy timeline thing. And obviously, and you know, we know that like because Goasu is actually, you know, has those rings as well, maybe even doing this would start like destroying all 12 universes, because obviously that kind of said that because Trunks was going back and forth in time, he actually created, you know, 4 or 5 different universes, like different sets of multiverses. So what if everything just starts collapsing into each other, and that's where we're headed? That would be super cool. I would really like to see that. Anyway, tell me what y'all thinking about this in the comment section below. I really kind of want to know whether y'all think that this is something that's at least a little plausible, or maybe am I just going like way too off kilter right now and just being like, yeah, this is a cool idea, but you know, it's not really a cool idea because it's just like way overthinking it, and Dragon Ball Super will never do anything like that. Obviously, that's a lot of my theories at this point, but I'm just trying to think about certain things that are really cool, stuff that I want to see in this series, and just, you know, stuff that would be interesting for the story going forward, and, you know, trying to figure out a way for Zeno to get involved without having to come in and save the day. Honestly, I feel like if he's going to be able to fix anything, if the Super Dragon Balls are going to be able to fix anything, it's going to be those particular things. So anyway, tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Do not forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all in the next theory video. Anyway, guys, bye.